Before we get started, a quick shout out to our sponsor, Northwest Pizza and Pasta Company, located at 1585 Siskiyou Boulevard in Ashland, right up Walker Avenue from us right here, serving pizza, wings, salads, burgers, sandwiches, pasta, and much, much more. Northwest Pizza can take care of you. Go see Morgan and the crew and tell them the Running Raiders sent you. Today's episode is with Josh Pilling. Running Raiders got a little modified studio here downstairs in the classroom. Loving life. I'm TJ. Ani's back and across the table from me.
What's up?
Josh, welcome.
Thanks for having me. What's up, everybody?
Yeah, it's fun to get you in the studio with us.
Dude, I was stoked. We were out at dinner last night, and B's all, you want to get on the podcast? And I'd watched a couple of them, and I was like, man, heck yeah, I want to get on the podcast. So I'm grateful to be here.
Yeah, it's been a quick integration into our culture here, having you come in, and you've been such a positive energy and a bright light for me. And I think for our program as a whole. So I'm glad we get this opportunity to sit down and talk with you.
For sure, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your story. Where do you come from?
Dude, it's always a funny question for me because at this point in time in my life, I feel like my life has been broken up into such like deep segments of like I was this person at one phase and this person at one phase and this person at one phase. And it's been this constant evolution, but I mean, just to keep it really simple, I guess, and generic, I grew up in Idaho. That's where my family's from. When I graduated high school, I wanted to get out. I went to California to play basketball, played basketball for a year, started a business, dropped out. Business did really well. Was a young, dumb kid making a lot of money, ended up ruining my life, got into some bad things, completely decided like I was about to die if I stayed in that life, left it all behind. And then kind of took myself back to like rock bottom to rebuild. So that was really confusing, but that's like, those are like the segments of it.
Well, you're a young guy. That's a lot in a short time.
Yeah. I looked the life experience in general for people now, I think is just like things, there's not a whole lot of consistency in the world, and it can be such a confusing place that people that ask questions, I think, get thrown around in that loop a little bit, Mine specifically, I feel like was a little unique because of the people that I was around. It seemed like when I left high school and I went from being in Idaho, the small town kid, sheltered, had a really good upbringing, for the most part, to, having a fallout with my family, kind of being like the black sheep a little bit, to just, I'm running away to get out of here and go find myself. When I went to California, I was surrounded by people like B and my homie Mike and Isaiah and Buddha, guys that were 4, 5, 10, 15 years older than me, all from different walks of life that I was just soaking up. I was soaking up information from them, how to be a man, how to handle myself in certain situations, with a complete disregard of the things my parents had taught me with the person that I'd been growing up from, 5 years old to 18. And so I saw a huge change in myself at that time, which was like a good thing in a lot of ways. But at the same time, when tragedy strikes in your life and you're not grounded and centered, it can start veering away pretty quickly. So that was kind of the foundation and the root of all the side, walks that I walked in my life that weren't necessarily, things that I wanted to do, but helped shape me into the kind of person that I am today. So,
do you have any regrets about the path?
None. Yeah, which was a super hard place to get to, super, super hard place to get to, because a lot of, what that was like when I dropped out and I started my business and I was doing really well, as a 19-year-old making a lot of money. And some of the friends that I met at that time were people that were pretty satanic, pretty dark. I didn't really know this at the time. Super Hollywood involved, music, artists, designers, etc. And these guys became my best friends, people that had a history of substance abuse and addiction. And, I'd already kind of started to veer off that way myself a little bit. And some things just collided, like I didn't have any guidance. Like the worst thing for an addict is you have money, because you don't go broke. And it's like, you don't want to resort to doing crack or whatever. Most people just stop, you know, but to get the drugs that we wanted, you know, was so easy that it led to a lot of like really sad things happening, you know. And when I kind of made that choice to get away from that sort of thing in my life, there was a lot of regret. There was a ton of regret. Like, looking in the mirror was super hard, you know, because some terrible things happened to some people that I love. My best friend overdosed. I felt like if I'd been more the person that I was today, I could have saved him, you know, and I felt responsible for it for a very long time. Like, even just seeing the trajectory of my life in the good moments, I would look at so much of the damage that had been done inside people that I was around, you know, not to say it was my fault. It was just all of us in the mix of something, you know, but, you know, it was really hard to come to terms with those sorts of things for a while. It was hard to forgive myself, and it was hard to forgive the other people that had wronged me, to kind of turn me into the person that I truly wasn't me, you know, that did a lot of those things. So, but like, I fought through all that because I didn't want to live with regret. You know, I didn't want to live with thinking that I was like the literal devil himself for the terrible things that I had done, you know. So I just got to work on it, you know. I like wanted to get to a point where I could look myself in the mirror, or see myself in the reflection of someone else, and be proud of who I was, you know. And so I don't anymore, because my focus really isn't like about like per se the past, you know, because I've like found purpose through that struggle. Like, you know, I never think, what can I do to make this person like me because I have a hole in myself anymore. Like, it's, how can I leave this person and they love themselves more than they loved themselves before they met me, you know? And like, the focus on my life is still completely about me, you know, like, and I feel like everyone's purpose, the focus in life should be about them, you know, because that's the only way that we really can help other people. Because there's going to be days where you don't feel like being that kind of a person. You don't want to be good. You don't want to bring energy, you know, you want to just think about your problems. You're feeling overwhelmed, you know, but if your focus like isn't on yourself in those moments, you're not going to do the right thing to take care of yourself in those moments. It's going to put you in a hole. That effect is going to spread into the people that you're around, you know, and it's this cycle, like, but it's kind of, sorry, I ramble a lot.
Ramble all you want. Yeah, no, that's great.
I ramble a lot, but no, I don't live with regret anymore.
I can tell you're really thoughtful about it. Have you always been really thoughtful about these things, or is this something that through the experiences of your life it's kind of developed within you?
Definitely has developed more. I mean, I've always been like a super just loving, caring, you know, outgoing person, but the things that brought me like feelings of regret and things in my life that put me into a really dark place, where like things like suicide were on the table, you know, or just like complete solitude and isolation. I would spend periods of 6 months by myself, you know, just like pushing everyone away. Like, B would be calling me for 3 months and I'll just hang up. Like, and he's my best friend, you know? And it kind of like, I had no choice, you know, but to start thinking about things this way. Like, it was my only way out, you know, because I got to this point where it was like, man, I'm struggling with these things, and like, I'm having these thoughts enter my mind, and, you know, these whatever, but this isn't me, and this isn't who I want to be, you know. And I like had already been so deeply damaged by the effect that my darkness had on people around me and things that had happened because of it, that I was like, I'm just going to do this on my own, you know, which the only way that I felt like I could do it on my own was like super deep spiritual self-reflection, you know, like knowledge and information. Like, I went to therapy for a while just so I could like talk and process like some of the things, you know, just to hear myself get, you know, professionals' perspective on things. I'd read a lot of books. I started going to church and taking that a lot more seriously, you know. So I think the result of the way that I just like think about things now is a large part because of that, but also because there's just a lot on my mind all the time, you know. Like, that's why I love basketball, bro, because when I get in the gym, it's just like the one place where I literally don't think about anything else. You know, like, I love to snowboard, but when I'm on the mountain snowboarding, I still be thinking about a lot of stuff, you know?
Right.
But like, yeah, I just like, there's a lot that goes on in my head, you know?
Yeah. No, I understand that completely. That was something for me too, growing up, where in athletic competition, that was the one time where I didn't ever think about anything else. And I love football too. I played football too. Yeah. And football was even a little bit less thinking.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the play? Okay, I know what I'm doing in the play. And then I just let myself go. You know? And for me, basketball, I had to think a little bit more. Basketball is, to me, the hardest sport to play. Because there's so many skills required and so many different movements required, and it happens so fast and it never stops.
Yeah.
Right. You get your occasional free throw or your occasional side out of bound or your timeout or whatever. But it's just like that. Yeah. You just get a chance to not think about anything and just let it go. Yeah. Which has also kind of been, a little bit therapeutic for me coming back this year and being an assistant coach after a couple years away, and knowing Coach Zozel has a plan and I don't have to come up with the plan going into the games. I just get to be free and not think about anything but those 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's such a great therapy.
Yeah, dude. I remember in high school, there was one day, this is the last time I ever thought about anything else when I got on the basketball court, but I was in practice, and I'm normally, like, you've seen me the last few weeks, I'm super selfless. I get everyone else motivated, but that day I was like, what the heck is wrong with you? Blah, 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 and my coach was pulled me aside, and he's like, dude, I can tell you're just going through it today. You got something that's bugging you, but the basketball court is the one place in the world where you can just, it all goes away. You just don't let something take that away from you when you're on the basketball court. And that really hit me hard, and I sat and I thought about it, and I'm like, and he was like, your problem is going to be there when you leave the court today. It's not going to solve it. It's not going to fix it. But, it's don't worry about it when you're on the court. Let this be your place to go be free from it and then deal with it when you get done, And that's really stayed with me my whole life. Even when I wasn't playing organized basketball, there's a lot of times where I'm like, I just need to go to the gym and shoot, because I'm just overthinking stuff. And that's I know a place I can go to be free.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get this.
It's a little coy, man.
Yeah.
Did you play, Ani?
I played in high school.
Okay.
But, I went to high school in Asia. So,
did you really?
So that's
that is so dope.
The first thing when you said was you have a hard time answering where you're from.
Yeah.
I can relate to that a lot, just in the sense of I grew up in so many different environments. I usually just go off where I stayed the most or where my last place was and where you're from, instead of, because I was born in California. I lived in 6-7 different countries. So I was able to.
Was your family in the military or?
No, so my dad just had an IT job, but it just involved him traveling a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Dang. What's your favorite place you ever lived?
Probably Singapore, just in the sense of that was my youth.
I know, right?
And then it was also it allowed me to kind of grow as a person and figure out who I was.
Yeah.
So that's probably my favorite spot.
That's so cool, bro. That's so cool.
Have you ever spent any time outside the country?
I have, a little bit. I've been to Japan. My dad is from Canada, so I've spent a lot of time in Canada. I've been to Mexico a lot. When I was living in San Diego, we'd always go across the border.
Oh, yeah. I've been to Tijuana.
Yeah, Tijuana, Rosarito. Yeah, I really liked a lot of the surf breaks down there. Me and my buddy, we bought a little $500 pickup, and we'd go skirt down there and go and do some surfing and stuff. Let's see. I haven't been to Europe. I really want to go to Europe. I haven't been to Africa. I would love to go to Africa. But yeah, I've done a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, not as much as I'd like to, but.
How old are you?
24.
You're 24.
Yeah.
That's 24. You've done a lot for 24 years.
I have, dude. I have. Yeah.
What age were you when at the point that you would consider rock bottom for you, or the lowest point for you?
I would say truly was the end of 2019, just because. Not because things were worse than they'd been after that, but I was in such a terrible mental state. I'd basically been on drugs for a year straight, almost every single day, hard drugs, and that destroyed my mind. I was to a point where I felt like the only thing that was alive was my heart. Like my being was dead. My spirit was like completely dead, you know, but I don't know. I feel like I thought things wouldn't get harder, you know, after that. I'm like, this is my lifelong rock bottom. Things couldn't get worse, you know, but this year has actually been really tough, you know, like I lost both my dogs, you know, my girl, and 2 miscarriages with like literally at the start of the year, I thought I was going to be a dad. I thought I was going to be a family man, you know, all these things that I really like ultimately always wanted out of my life. Like my dog, Bruce, is like it's hard to even think about him without getting emotional. Like my best friend in words, like could not describe, you know, like the only person that had been there with me through like rock bottom to the person that I am now, you know, like that really, really understood me, you know? So like this year has been like a definite spirit tester for sure, you know, but like, I feel like I'm in such a different place now, like mentally, that has like, and have such a different perspective. Like I feel like if I was going through what I was going through this year with the mentality that I had when I was 21 years old, I definitely wouldn't be here right now. I can tell you that, dude. I would be, who knows, you know, I wouldn't be doing something smart. I wouldn't be doing something healthy, you know, like I might have turned what happened this year into the end, you know, or my new rock bottom, you know, or whatever, like, because the feelings are definitely a lot stronger than they were, like, especially losing my dog, Bruce, like just the feelings of like solitude and loneliness that followed, you know, his passing, like was like really, really intense, you know, but keeping a like perspective and an attitude of gratitude, you know, is like, has really been insanely life-changing to me, you know, instead of being a victim. Why did this happen to me? Like feeling like his death had anything to do with me at all, you know, instead looking at it like, man, I am so grateful for the time that I got with him, the way that he's changed me. I wouldn't be who I am today. Like the day he passed, I promised him, I'm like, bro, I'm not going to be sad one day. Like, I'm not going to be ungrateful one day. I'm not going to curse God one time. Like, I'm going to keep working. I'm going to be with you again, you know, and like, I'm going to really let you be at peace now and see all the good that you've done for me in my life, and like, let you just watch me like shine, you know, and be the person that he would want me to be. So
I only met Bruce a couple times.
Yeah, you guys met Bruce,
he's a soldier,
straight soldier, bro.
What a kind soul.
Yeah, dude. He left a crazy impact on a lot of people. Like he just had this thing called like the Bruce effect. Like he would walk into a room, bro, and people would just smile. Like people would all come together and be like, you know, what is this giant animal?
Yeah,
you know,
he's
like
big dog.
And I'm just sitting back, just like, I'm, you know, Bruce, I know Bruce and I spend time with him. It's like, I know people love Bruce, but I would sit back and I'd look at everyone else and I'm like, man, bro, Bruce, you're making hella people happy right now. You know, you're bringing people together. Like, and he did that everywhere he went, you know? So.
Did you get him as a pup?
I did. Yeah. Yeah. He was named after my grandpa, Bruce. He passed away. And it was like, I wasn't even thinking of getting a dog. We were waiting in line at the Cheesecake Factory. And so we just started walking through the mall and we found ourselves at a pet store. And there was a bunch of kids sitting around the glass and they were looking into this one thing. And I'm like, and they were like poking, trying to get its attention. And I'm like, what are all these kids looking at? So I walk up to the glass when they leave and there's just Bruce, but he's facing like this, the corner. Yeah. And I walk up to the glass, bro. And right as I look, I just see this whoosh. And he just comes and sticks his nose on the glass and he's just looking at me. And I was so broke at this time. Literally, I had $4,000 in my name. And I'm like, I feel my grandpa Bruce right now. Like, I know the feeling of my grandpa Bruce. I couldn't forget it. And I'm this dog is like, I'm feeling my grandpa on him. And I'm like, how much is this dog? They're like, $4,000. I'm like, that's all my money. We just started a business. Like, this is probably not a good idea, but I'm like, I feel like I should do it. So I spent all of my money to get Bruce. I didn't even know how we was going to eat. And like literally the next week we brokered a deal in our business that was like huge, you know, and I wasn't even stressing about it at all. But like, if I didn't pick him up, there was another lady that was like, if you don't buy him right now, I'm going to buy him. And that's why I had to get him right there. So yeah, he came to me as an angel for sure.
Yeah.
even as a puppy though, he was so big, dude.
He was
2 months. He was like 25 pounds, bro.
Dang, like a full-grown
Dog.
dog.
Yeah, like a full-grown dog almost.
How heavy was he at his full-grown?
He got to 175 at one point, and then early, like what he got the cancer from, he got hit by a car, like literally saved my brother's dog, like pushed her out of the way of the road, took the hit, and then after that he was like coasting around like 145 till he passed. But yeah, he was big, dude. He would jump up on my shoulders and he would be up to my chin, you know.
So he got cancer after the accident because it just messed up the structure.
Yeah, he got hit so hard on that side, like it made the bone start eating away at itself, and then it like developed this cancer called osteosarcoma. So yeah, and he's too big a dog like for them to amputate it and him to still live like a good happy life, you know.
Yeah,
it was weird though, you know, because I'm like through that whole process, like I didn't want him to have to suffer just at the expense of me getting more time with him, but like he was such a soldier that he would like wake up, you could tell he was in so much pain, he'd be groaning all night, and then like morning comes and he just jumps up, he's all happy, he's like, let's eat, let's play, let's, you know, and by the end of the day he would just be groaning again, he'd be in so much pain, you know. But like he just wanted to give me more time, I could tell, you know, because I wasn't ready at first. Like even when I first found out, I was scared. I'm like, man, without Bruce, I'm going to be a mess. I'm going to be lost. I'm going to be back to this and that and whatever. And like the month that I got with him before he passed away, like he really like taught me some deep lessons that I feel like are going to shape the rest of my life for real. You know, like I'd see him struggling just to even get up in the morning. He's hurting so bad. And literally he couldn't tell anyone what he was going through if he wanted to, you know, like he's, like there's a lot of times where I'm like, man, no one understands me. No one gets what I'm going through right now. And it makes me upset. You know, my people, like you're not taking the time to know what I'm going through right now, blah, blah, blah. But like, here's Bruce, literally his shoulders eating away at him. Like he doesn't like, he's kind of irritated, you know, you can tell all this, but he gets up, you know, he smiles, he comes up to me, lets me pet him. You know, he's like, let's eat. Like when I'm sad, I don't want to eat. That's the last thing I want to do. But he's like, let's eat, you know, let's go play. Let's, you know, keep going. Like, you know, it doesn't matter if someone knows what I'm going through or not. Like, I can tell that you love me and you understand I'm hurting right now, and that's enough. Like, let's go, you know? Yeah. And like, I saw that. I'm like, man, I'm about to live the exact same way. Like, because no one, like, not that even, like, no one could understand, like, the pain that I feel about losing Bruce, but, like, it doesn't really matter, you know, for people to understand the pain that I feel, because that's not who I am, you know, and that's not the most prevalent thing that I want people to be aware of about me, is that like I'm hurting, you know, like that's like I watched Bruce suffer in silence, and I'm like, man, like I really take my suffering to God, you know, like I've got so much love around me that it's like I don't need a hug in my lowest moment. Like I feel arms around me all the time, you know. Like I thought I'd feel super alone when he passed, but I don't. Like, you know, I feel so much love from people around me, and being the kind of person that I know I need to be continues to bring more love around me. You know, like just naturally, like the homie Will this week, bro. Like when I see Will, bro, he's like daps me up. He shows me so much love, you know. Like I told him I was leaving yesterday. He's like, bro, you got to come back and get back into practice, you know. And like that was never my intention. Like I don't care if people, there's a lot of people who don't like me, you know, like and I love those people still. You know, but to like see meaningful relationships be built off of like selflessness, you know, just is like really the key to like not ever being alone, you know, because I really feel like being alone is a choice, you know, and sometimes like people struggle to the point where they're not even in control of themselves, and so they don't really get to make a choice. They don't have mental freedom. They're stuck in the matrix, you know, or people's perceptions of them or whatever it might be, you know, and we help those people, but for the most part, like loneliness is a choice, I feel like. Yeah. You can always find people that don't like you. Yeah. If you want to. Tell me about tell me about OG Bruce. OG Bruce? Yeah, Grandpa Bruce. Oh man, dude. Where's he from? He's from Idaho. Yeah. Grew up in Idaho? Yeah, he grew up in Idaho. He played football at Utah State, got drafted to the NFL, and then blew his knee out the first week of training camp, and then just grew up to be a dad and a husband to two amazing women when my grandma passed away. And
is he a big man?
Big, yeah. He's like 6'3", but just super built,
And so he was born in Idaho. Tell me where was his dad from?
His dad, I think he was from Idaho too. Like
we're going back a long
ways in Idaho.
Yeah.
His dad though was super dope because he was like one of the best marksmen in the whole military, and he like got a ride on like Theodore Roosevelt's like carriage and stuff. Like he was one of his sharpshooters.
Yeah.
He in the World War II, he got he was in the paratroopers that made it to Germany before, Normandy, like the people that stormed on Normandy did. So he was in a concentration camp for like a month or two or something. And they put a disease in him that like his hands would shake super bad. And my grandpa would be like, I'd be out hunting with him and the rifle would just be going like this. And all of a sudden, boom, and just 500 yards away, a deer would still like drop.
He could still shoot?
Still could shoot, bro.
Wow.
Even he would be literally shaking. It was just so nice with it. But
wow, that's a crazy story.
Yeah, so he was a pretty cool cat.
So where does your bloodline originally come from? Do you have any idea?
I'm actually not sure. I need to do one of those tests. Like my dad's whole family is from Canada. I feel like I have some like Scandinavian blood in me, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, I've never really dug too deep into it, honestly. I could ask my grandma. She's like a genealogy nut, bro. She's got our whole family tree. It looks like the Amazon forest.
Yeah.
She's gone back so far. But yeah, I'm not sure.
So growing up, you said beforehand you're one of 8.
One of 8, yeah. Yep.
Tell me what that was like in the household.
It was like chaotic but super cool. I've got an older brother, 2 little sisters, and then 4 little brothers. So I mean, I don't think I felt the chaos as much as like my mom did, because it was like a lot of little ones by the time I left. Like I think when I moved out of the house, my littlest brother was like 2, but I don't know. I like having a big family. My parents are super dope, and we have a very strong like concept of family. So it makes life easier, when you have that for sure. Because it's like you need something to get done. There's 8 people out there doing it, it gets stuff done super, super quick, And we don't really fight too much. Like we all get along, similar interests, for the most part.
So are the relationships solid right now? I'm assuming when you were going through the darkest times in your life that there was at least some disconnect. I don't know. How they felt about those times or what have you.
Yeah, I didn't talk to my family for probably like 4 years, honestly. Wow. Yeah, like I'd go months without even saying half the time my parents were like, we didn't even know if you were alive or not, but yeah, and there was like they definitely weren't proud of what I was doing, and they were really straight and narrow, and they still are, but like they were not cool with me doing what I was doing, and struggling just because they were so afraid of what I was going to become and what I would do. And rightfully so. I made a lot of mistakes, but like now it's like crazy coming back. I came back to them like broken. I really was like, man, I need my family right now, and they helped me kind of heal, in a lot of ways and take some steps and stuff. But now their perspective is so different. I think like I was able to open their eyes to a lot of things, and they've been able to help open my eyes to a lot of things, because we're blood and we're family, but like, really at the end of the day, we're all children of God, and we all bring something so individual and so unique. And like, I think family gets put on a pedestal sometimes. Like, it doesn't matter how you treat your family, like, and I don't really necessarily believe in that. Like, there's a lot of people that don't have strong blood family, and have to go out and make their own family and find their own family, as I think they should. Like, just because you're a family, I don't think gives you a free pass to do whatever you want,
Right.
But like in a positive way, when you're able to like see someone differently, or even like you're my son, like for my mom, but like you have a little bit different beliefs than I do, and I have a little different beliefs than you, and we find, and we're still able to like have a relationship as like children of God, you know, and it's super progressive. And for the most part, I feel like my family's pretty good at that, but there definitely are times where people just get caught up, you know, in the cycle, and you kind of lose focus on the things that really matter in life because of the circumstances that are surrounding you at that time, you know?
It's hard being a parent too. I mean, for me, there's that fine line of, you know, letting my kids discover things and also, you know, controlling the things that they need controlled, because, you know,
you don't want them to run and stick their hand in the fire.
Right. You can't just allow them to hurt themselves on things that they don't know about that, you know, will hurt them, right? Because you do have more knowledge than them. Yeah. So there's that fine line there of control and also letting go of, you know, of what's more love, letting you fail, or, you know, protecting you and letting, you know, and develop bad habits. So it can be hard, I can imagine, as a parent, of what they're supposed to do, right? Of what's showing the most love.
I have so much empathy for my parents, bro, for real, dude. Like, because how do you know, like, be the perfect parent? Like, you know, with that factored in, like, you can't, you know, because there's always going to be something that you're like, just don't do that. Like, I remember before I went to California, my grandpa Bruce was big, and he died shortly after I moved away, and he was begging me, don't go. And like, I feel like people that are closer to death, like, have their stronger intuition, you know? And I think he was like, had a feeling I was about to go through the ringer super tough. And he's like, don't go. And I still was like, I'm going, baby. I'm going. I'm out of here, you know? And like, maybe I would have gone through less pain because of that, but I definitely wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't gone through all of that, you know? But yeah, dude, being a parent is tough. I'm honestly so excited to be a parent, but also so terrified at the same time, you know? But empathy can fix a lot of things, you know? Because my parents definitely know, like, that, because I feel like they're hard on themselves. Like, man, Josh, we could have done better with him, you know? But I make it a point all the time, like, yo, y'all are the best parents ever. Like, the things that I've done in my life have nothing to do with you at a certain point. Like, you raised me to the best of your ability, you know, and gave me a focus that I could have held on to, you know, to be a better person, like, more consistently throughout my life, you know? But it's weird. God just has, like, a different plan for people, you know? Like, there's a really unique way I can connect with people, you know, because of, like, the things that I've gone through that have shaped the way that I perceive the world, you know, and perceive people.
Right.
But yeah, parents, man.
Yeah,
we need you, bro.
I was the black sheep of my family.
Were you?
Yeah. My parents are small town Oregon people. Yeah. And my sisters have stayed in Oregon their whole life. I mean, they've done some traveling and stuff like that. But I left after graduating from SOU, the Master's in Teaching program. I went and lived in Korea, and they thought I was divorcing the family. Like, they were real upset with me, and had no comprehension of why I would want to do something like that. Yeah. And so it was hard on them. It was. I've been through a lot of different things that they didn't understand, and I put myself through. I don't think I've been, you know, as dark at times as you've been.
How weird was that for you, though? To, like, because you were probably so stoked to go to Korea.
Yeah,
like, thinking like,
this is the biggest adventure of my life.
Yeah, you know, and then your parents are just so against it. Like, was that super weird for you?
Yeah, my parents had always, though, been, like, super supportive, you know, very loving, very demanding, really high expectations. You know, I knew to get A's in school or it was going to be trouble. Yeah. But I was just always searching, and like a nomad, and always, you know, whatever freedom I had, I would be driving to new towns. I would be out in the country. I'd be doing different things, exploring. I was always an explorer. And I just had this urge that I had to go, knowing that it wasn't going to be high on. I knew they weren't going to be happy about it. But that's the first time I ever saw my dad cry, is when I getting on the airplane to go to Korea.
Really?
Yeah. which is weird.
Yeah.
Right. For me, like you're saying, for me, it's like, oh man, this is an awesome adventure.
I'm glad you went, bro.
Yeah.
Glad you went.
Yeah, me too.
Do you feel like some of those questions, like the questions that answered, like into your, like, did it change the dynamic of your relationship in a negative or a positive way, like by you going over there?
It's changed in a positive way, but it's been a long-term change.
Yeah.
You know, it's taken a long time, but our relationship has become much healthier and much truer, much more real. You know, I was always the kid that was just I always knew what to say and what they wanted to hear. So I was always really good at delivering the right answer. But it was never always truly me.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's been, and I feel like I'm still on my journey.
Yeah.
Just like we all are. Right. So I don't feel like it's truly over the journey, but it's definitely been a finding myself journey. And
that's so cool, bro.
But I've also, kind of like you're saying with your grandfather, whatever you call him, I've put myself through a lot of hard times that I didn't need to go through. And I'm sure on some level they knew that I was going to make life harder on myself on some level to do that. But it's been worth it to find out the things that I needed to learn.
For sure.
Which high school did you go to?
High school called Minico High School. I started at Burley. That's like where I grew up. And I had a colostomy bag actually for like 6 months. I like fell on a wrought iron fence post and it literally went like up through like the bottom of like my butt, like through my leg and up into my stomach, like impaled me and like destroyed my sphincter muscle and a bunch of other things. So I had to get a colostomy bag and I like went back to school and was just like getting crazy bullied from it. Like, and I was super, super thick skinned, but it went on for like 3 years and like it kind of gotten to where my teachers were in on it. And, you know, like Josh is the gay kid that got the pull up his butt kind of thing, you know? And I would just spit it out. But it got to a point where I was really getting super depressed, you know, and like super low from that and just it coming from everywhere. So I decided to transfer schools to literally like the best basketball program in the state to the worst basketball program in the state. Like, and basketball was everything to me, but it was to a point where I'm like, bro, I'm going to die if I stay here. Like I'm miserable, you know? So I transferred schools and bro, that was actually such a dope story. Cause this is a crazy story already. We came in. So just, I was in primary children's for like 2 months and they like a lot of crazy stuff happened there. They accidentally overdosed me on morphine and like I died and they brought me back to life. And that was kind of a pivoting point of like a spiritual, like not awakening, but it posed so many questions that it really kind of messed me up spiritually a little bit for a while. But you know, whatever came back, jump away from that for a little bit, back to the basketball. I went into the worst program in the state after all that because I had to transfer schools. And in 3 years, we went from like being 7-17, horrible record, only beat small schools, to 500 the next year. And then we only lost 2 games my senior year. We're just like took literally the worst program in the state into just like a powerhouse in 3 years. Like when I got there, I did some recruiting I got some of the football guys, some of the baseball guys. I'm like, you guys are athletes. Like, I was getting people in the gym. My coach was super bought in, and we just like created this culture in 3 years to where like people were showing, like we would have 100 people in our stands that thing is packed. You know, people want to come watch basketball, like, you know, and to have kind of like hunted that and led that change that happened, like, and even the impact that it had on the community was like the first time in my life where I was like, bro, I'm not going to live my life for anyone else. Like I can be who I am and make a difference. And when I listen to other people or I'm a fabrication of someone else's goals or someone else's dreams or whatever, like I'm going to be stuck in a box and I'm not going to be able to do anything. Cause that's what I was in Burley. Like I just became a tool of like, I was a joke to people, you know, and I was just caught up in other people's projections and whatever. And like, when I freed myself from that, I'm like, dude, people are beautiful. Like I'm beautiful. Like I can, you know, and that was like the first time in my life that I really saw that, maybe I have been thinking about stuff in a weird way for a long time.
It sounds like it. Yeah. Well, you've had quite a bit of trauma from an early age too. Like you've gone through some stuff.
That one was weird, bro. That same year, actually,
this is crazy.
I got 7. So in March, I was pretty nice on a pogo stick. Like I was pretty raw, dog. I was pretty raw. No, but I was trying this trick where I'm jumping off these 6 stairs and I'm spinning it, and then I jump back on it and I mess up the trick and my pogo stick falls and I land on the handlebars like that. And I had to get 17 stitches in my scrotum, literally my balls, bro. Super embarrassing. Thank God I can still have kids, it could have been really bad, but super embarrassing.
Like crazy?
Yeah, but I didn't even know, bro. I was I just thought I got, racked or whatever. And I was laying, and everyone was I'm like, guys, honestly, it's hurting an hour later. And then I looked down my leg and there was just blood, and I'm like, oh no. So we went to the ER, and then 6 months later in October, I fell on that fence post and literally basically a butt injury and a ball injury back to back as a 7th grader, which was super humiliating,
Yeah.
And to be in have to be in primary children's for 2, I couldn't even really walk for 2 months, So that was and just to see all of my friends switch up on me too, except for one, I literally went back to school and thought everyone would be happy to see me, I'd literally just been through the burner, for 2 months, and but I got back and people were so mean to me, dog. The girls would give me attention, but it wasn't I really feel they kind of thought I was weird too, because literally my large intestine that was my scar from it. Yeah. Was on the outside of my body, and I'm pooping into a bag, bro. Was really a misfit for real, and people disown me, really treat it. And I'm and I'm coming back as a little kid, friends with everyone before that. And I'm like, man, what did I do to everyone? No one is being cool with me no more. Everyone's making fun of me. And I really became a warrior for the broken, at that point in time. I was feeling so down and depressed, bro. And I'm like, you know what, man? I started looking around and seeing all these other kids that were getting bullied and all these other kids that didn't have no friends. And I started taking guitar classes because honestly, I was homies with all the band kids. You know what I'm saying? There were still people out there that I could connect to, and my whole life I've been just attracted to people like that. That's how me and B met, I met B when he was going through some bad things. We were literally friends for 6 months before he got locked up, for 4 years. And I was one of the few people that stayed in contact with him through 4 years. I went and visited him twice, Bruce, I brought my dog into jail. We went and visited him, brought him from California. Yeah. We went and saw the homie, just our relationship was built over the phone for real, while he was locked up, and we'd known each other, but we were still tight, we were homies. We shared a spot, we lived in the same apartment, for 6 months, whatever. But our relationship was really built in the concrete as yo, dog, I got you, and I knew he was teaching me a lot while he was in there too, sharing all his experiences and things with me, and I've just kind of gravitated towards people like that,
Mm-hmm.
And B is one of my best friend because he's one of those shadow warrior type people too. He looks for people that need friends. He's not afraid to step up for what's right. And that's why me and him have been so close because we're very similar in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love broken people, bro, because they matter, dog. They matter,
This is me projecting on you. I see this as kind of God put you through these things so that you would have the experiences to connect with other people down the road. Do you reflect on your experiences with the colostomy bag and the other injuries and how that changed your perspective? Do you feel that is a predestined plan for you?
For sure. There's this saying where, you wanted strength, God gave you struggle so you could become strong, and I really feel like a lot of the things that have happened to me in my life happened, for me to learn, for me to get a different outlook, because had I not gone through those things, I might have just been, this like privileged, spoiled white boy, that didn't give a shit about people that were hurt, or, whatever it was, like or maybe even just like a farm boy that stayed in my hometown and just gossiped about everyone, or this or that, like, or anything else other than what I am, and it really feels like it comes from God, like not necessarily because of like the actual struggle that I went through, but just like the miracles that kept me going through it, like there was no time where I felt like God ever forsaked me. He either sent a Bruce, he sent a B, he sent me like a thought, or an opportunity. He opened a door. Like I really feel like I've had angels walking with me my whole life, and I like choose to look at those things that happen like that because it just like some of it just seems so crazy that it like all happens like this, it really feels like there's a divine order for things, and I also need to I give myself credit too, because there's a lot of times where I really could have given up, where I could have just, stayed, I really like it. You have to make the choice as an individual to like allow your like God's plan for you to like be fulfilled, but like I was definitely provided with all the tools that I ever needed,
You deserve a lot of credit, so give yourself a lot of credit because there's a lot of
man.
people that don't make it through those challenges. So I forget the name already. Montego. What was the name of the high school? It's probably way off.
Oh, Minico.
Montego's
way cooler though. Montego's way cooler.
You graduate from Minico, and then you get to California. Did you have offers? Did you have other opportunities, or was it like this is the one offer I want to take?
I had an offer from a couple junior colleges in the NWAC, like Walla Walla and, some other schools like that. And then I was talking to Idaho State, but I did not want to be in Idaho and I did not want to be in Oregon. I wanted to be in San Diego for some reason. I don't know why. I just wanted to be in the sun. I wanted, so Coach Blaine, actually at College of Idaho, he got me in contact with Vanguard University down in like South LA. And I was going down there on a visit, he got me an opportunity. Coach Blaine's the homie. He probably doesn't even remember that. I was like, and then he told me, he's like, you could probably play at any JUCO you wanted down there. Like just hit up all the JUCOs, and they'll probably bring you out, send them highlight tape, whatever. So I did that and found a bunch, like 10 different JUCOs that I'm like, I could see myself playing there. And just went down there went and checked them all out. Vanguard could only offer me a partial scholarship and it still would have been like 20 bands a year. And I'm like, so I ended up, picking a JUCO.
So you went down, visited, made the commitment while you were visiting the school, or did you come home, think it over, and give them a call?
I came home and I thought it over, but I had went from having a horrible experience with basketball to such a dope experience with basketball because of the coach that I had. And I really, really liked my coach at Maricosta. Like, he was just so dope, man. Coach Taylor, he was like, we laughed the whole tour. He made my mom feel super dope. Like, he, it wasn't like, it just felt more like my vibe, like not as like
rigid.
And that was the biggest reason why I went there is like, I was like, I want to have a coach that I vibe with, So that's why I ended up going to Maricosta.
And you were there for the one season?
One season.
What was that season like?
So dope. So I came in hooping, I was Idaho State Player of the Year my senior year.
Dang.
I felt like I was a hooper, And I went there on some like, I was kind of simping over my ex and blah, blah, blah. I was like the first time away from home. My family was disowning me. Like I was had other stuff going on and I was not playing good. Like 8th man, 5 minutes a game, 2 points a game, just not clicking. In practice, I'm just killing everyone. In games, I suck, bro. I suck. And just not really getting an opportunity either. I was still locked in, but I'd never been a bench player. Like I'd never sat the bench my whole life. it was really weird, you know, and super discouraging. But I was like, I'm going to have a good attitude. I'm going to be a good teammate. And my teammates were being a good teammate to me. I was working through it. Then halfway through the season, we're playing a game. First half, I go in, get a wide open layup, miss it. Coach pulls me out. I ain't going in the rest of the game. I'm sitting at the end of the bench with a bad attitude. Everyone's like, Josh, keep your head up. I'm like, shut up. No one talk to me. I'm sick of this right now. 2 minutes into the second half, coach is all, Josh. I'm like, I got a shot. Like, go in. First play, I get a steal. I throw it up to B because I'm playing with B.
Yeah.
Throw it up to B. I cross half court. B throws it back to me, just bullet pass. He's all, shoot that shit. Throws it right as I cross half court. It startled me. Pull it. Splash. Coach already had a guy coming in to sub me out, you know. And he was like, and after that, bro, was like 25 points a game. You know, the first game I started, 13 for 13 from the field, 30 points, 10 rebounds. Like, something clicked. And I don't know, I just really turned into a dog, you know, like I wasn't scared. Anytime I got like B really was the like turning point of that season for me, for real. Like him being the teammate that he was, and that inspired me to want to be an even doper teammate. Like having, like it was crazy, dude. Like it was 2 points, 4 points, 2 points, 4 points to 30, 35, 28, 26, you know, just every single game. Like we would go to open gyms and be running with the SDSU guys and USD or whatever. And like, we would walk in there and just kill everyone. Like it was a mentality, like, I'm playing defense. The guy in front of me is not better than me. Sink, you know, give me that. Like we probably didn't lose an open gym game for like 3 months at one point. Like we were just dogging everyone. My little 5'4" homie Terrell, like, you know, my 36-year-old homie Buddha, like, and we were just out there killing everyone, dude. Like,
sounds fun.
It was so fun, bro. It was cool to like have to work through that, you know, because being a bench player is really super discouraging, you know, for sure, when it really doesn't need to be, you know, and there's still ways that you can contribute, you know, and help your team win, which ultimately is what it's all about, you know. But to have a teammate like B flip that for me, bro, where literally I would start the game, get the ball in the wing, split gag, shoot, next play, split, you know, like just going crazy, you know, every game.
I've definitely seen that at JUCO, though. Like, my personal experience being at JUCO the last 2 years, just, like, all the guys coming in, they were, like, the star of their high school team or getting 20 shots a game, playing 35 minutes, you know? And now coming to, you're just playing 10 minutes, but it's going to be the hardest 10 minutes you play.
Yeah.
So that's a hard adjustment, though.
For
like,
sure.
Mentally, too. How did you cope with that? Like, is it just, like, having supportive teammates, or, like, you have to be like, hey, it's just a different role, I just got to be bought into it? Or is it, like, the coach buying you into that role?
It was a lot, you know. I think anytime like you got positivity and encouragement and some, you know, like my coach obviously was willing to still give me an opportunity, you know. So I would say A, B, C, and D, you know, for sure. It also was like, I feel like I responded in a way where even when I was like super frustrated, it never made me quit. It just made me want to go harder, you know, like, like, man, I played 2 minutes last game, bro. I'm going to practice and I am eating everybody alive, bro, that played minutes over me. Like, I'm going to kill them all practice. Like, but at the same time, if I didn't have teammates that were encouraging me and bringing me up, I might have also got really vain with that and been like, it's all about me, you know? And if it ever became like that, I never would have made it out that, you know? I think it was just the perfect storm of good teammates, my coach still believing in me, and my attitude about it, you know.
And TJ, what about you? Like, when you're up in Tacoma and you're recruiting all these kids, like coming, being star players coming out of high school to buying them into a bench role or being the 7th or 8th man, how was that as a head coach? Like,
hard, real hard. I don't know if I ever did a great job with it either, and that's something I'm learning a lot from Coach Zozel. Is that a lot of times, and it's different in a 4-year program too, you know, with a 2-year program, you're coming in and it's like, I got to get mine to move on to the next. So it's hard. But Coach Zozel has been he's a lot more thoughtful about the guys that he's bringing in, and he's not trying to bring in 15 guys that are going to be the star player. You know, you got to really think about, you know, I might give this guy a scholarship and he knows that I'm planning on him being an 8th, 9th guy. with the opportunity of working his way up over 4 years to get more minutes. But being a program where you build up with younger guys and that sort of thing, it's really hard at the JUCO level to get guys to be good teammates and role players off the bench for sure. It's a hard mentality to have, and it's just hard being away from freshman year of college for a lot of people is the hardest year of their life. I used to tell kids that all the time, the freshmen coming in, this is going to be the hardest year of basketball that you ever play because it's a big jump. Even in the NWAC, which is maybe one of the lowest.
Like college basketball is college basketball. Like there's no scrubs out there.
Right. It's going to be a jump in physicality. It's going to be a jump in speed. It's going to be a jump in skill level, and you're going to be on your own. Most of you are going to be on your own for the first time in your life. You're going to have to figure out how to eat. You're going to have to do your classes, which are probably going to be harder than you've ever done. You're going to be living in a new place. It's emotional. You're lonely. A lot of kids get homesick. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. You're doing a lot of things for the first time. So I think I was pretty good at talking kids through that and just helping them and allowing kids to have their struggles and being there for them when they did have their struggles and supporting them and those sort of things. So yeah, I can't say I was great at it, but I did my best to understand that there were going to be challenges and kind of help kids through that.
You're super charismatic though, Coach, for sure. Like that's one of the first things I recognized about you is like just the look you give people when they're like speaking to you. Like you just put off that like I'm an ear to listen. Like you can come to me for stuff, which you might be hard on yourself with. Maybe I didn't do this the best or whatever, but just you having that period, like, and even hearing the effect that it has on everyone, like B was talking about you last night and how much he appreciates you, and I can tell you have an impact on all the guys around here. So, I feel like it's good to be hard on yourself, but at the same time, you should recognize it. That you make such a dope impact on people, bro. You make a dope impact on people.
Yeah, I hope so.
You do, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I promise you do.
Make me emotional.
I promise you do.
Yeah, I love being around people and I want everyone to have the opportunity to be themselves and to be their best self. So I try and provide an opportunity for that.
Hell yeah, dude.
So thank you. So how did the season end up as far as like overall record? You guys make the playoffs?
No, we barely missed out. We were like a 500 team. We were so sickly talented, but we never got over that JUCO hump of we're going to play like a unit,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, a lot of D1 guys on our team. One kid named Austin who was literally putting up like 40 points a game at the start of the year, seemed like the smartest guy on our team, and halfway through the season he's ineligible,
Yeah.
God, just so much stuff. Half our team was ineligible is probably why I got an opportunity to be honest. But it was a 500 season. The record is definitely not what I remember about our season for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were a 500 team.
So the season ends, and that's when you got the job where you're making a bunch of money, and you're like, I want to make money and have fun, and I'm done with basketball.
Yeah, it was like right as the season ended, and I wasn't playing basketball, and I was just doing school. I was like, bro, I hate school. I really was only locked in on school because of basketball, and so I'm like, what can I do right now? And I started looking into just online courses and different things I could learn, how to make money with. And I'm like, I'm going to do social media marketing and blah, blah, blah. And so I started going down this like rabbit hole, and at this time I was big on like the laws of the universe, the law of attraction. And, I'm like, I'm going to manifest like things into my life to make this business happen, and shortly after I met my homie Eric, and he was a manager for a billing company that did billing for pharmacies for like specialty like topical medications like for pain, so people didn't have to take opioids or diabetic foot soaks and things like that. And I met him, and he's like, yeah, I work with all these marketers. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing marketing, and when I didn't even know what the heck I was doing. You know? I'm like, bro, I know marketing, you know? And we ended up just talking and becoming homies, and we ended up becoming, you know, we started a company. We were marketers for pharmacies, and we worked through that billing firm, and we would, you know, connect people that wanted to try an alternative solution, you know, for pain management or whatever, and help connect them to the right places. And then the pharmacy would pay us, you know, marketing commissions basically. So we had a full call center. Like we built it up to like maybe 30 employees, and had a couple overseas call centers and stuff working with us too. Yeah, we were rocking and rolling. In like 3 years, we built it up to a pretty sick company, honestly. And you know, we're kids on drugs, so you can't sustain anything, you know, that way. So you
were just figuring out as you went, though?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we have a problem here, find a solution?
Dude, when I tell you, I literally was like just on my phone all day, like literally in the, like what days were as rough, I'd be going through the phone book and just calling random people, bro. Like, you know, you have pain, like, you know, this like it was like, bro, we were in the trenches at first, but we networked and we found good lead sources. You know, we once we found a good lead source, we got a dialer, and we were, instead of, you know, calling 100 people a day, we were putting 30,000 people, you know, and we would just crank them out. It'd be calling 5 people at a time, wire through the first person that answered. And so we were able to start doing more volume, you know. And then once we got that down and we're like, okay, it's like, these are our expenses per one dude, you know, and this is our profit. Like, is it profitable to keep scaling? And it was. And so we just replicated, bro. We freaking went into like Wiener Schnitzel in the mall and like literally took like 6 of their employees.
Are you serious?
Because like, bro, we would get on Indeed and stuff, but we'd have like, I'm 19 years old and we got 30-year-olds coming in to interview. Like, they don't want to work for a 19-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and even if they did, they were a problem. You know, it was like, oh, this 19-year-old's making all this money. His business partner's 22 and I know best, blah, blah. I should, you know, it just brought in such a bad vibe into what we were trying to do. So we're like, you know, well, let's just get kids, bro. Let's get kids. Let's teach them how to sell. Let's teach them how to market. Let's bring them in. And, you know, we ended up like giving a lot of kids like a cool opportunity, you know, to like make some solid
awesome
money.
Yeah,
like, it was a cool thing for a while, bro. But I needed to get away from it. You know, I was like, if I don't stop everything about this life right now, like I'm gonna die or someone else I love is gonna die, you know. So I just like, that's why I started these apartments actually that I'm building right now. I shut my business down. We didn't even sell it. We just closed the door. My business partner's on the same wave as me, kind of, and I just got nitty gritty into some manual labor, dude. Haven't really made serious income in like, you know, a year or two, which is super different. So I had to change my lifestyle significantly, you know, and really was like, some stuff hit the fan shortly after. We had to pay like a lot of money and some like settlements and some different things because of some stuff a couple pharmacies that we were working with, you know, did. And was just like, went from having all this money to being dead broke again, you know, like dead broke, all my money invested, literally having like, you know, $0 to my name almost, was like super weird, you know. So
where are you now?
Now I'm just figuring it out, man, day by day.
I mean, physically though.
Oh, physically.
Where's your home?
Oh, home is Idaho still.
Yeah, you're in Idaho. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So when you came to see us in Caldwell, you were coming from Idaho?
I was coming from Burley is where I'm at right now.
You're in Burley,
I'm in Burley, yep, hometown.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. It's funny. My hometown is funny.
Does everyone in Burley dress like you? I say that because I love your style.
No, I
really do. I love your style, and so I figured it was not the style of Burley, Idaho.
Man, this is closer to what people in Idaho wear. Man, no, it's super country, you know.
Yeah,
I'm definitely I do not look like I'm from there, you know.
Yeah.
Like when people that don't know me in my hometown, when they ask me where I'm from, I just like say the moon or something weird because like literally I feel like it registers better with them. Like, so if I tell them, oh, I'm from here, then it's just like, then why are you like this? You know, but if I'm like, I'm from the moon, they're like, oh, makes sense. You know?
Yeah, he looks
sense.
like an alien.
Yeah, it's super different. I mean, people there are really, really dope too. It's like really kind community for the most part. You know, you see a lot of friendly faces everywhere you go. But yeah, I'm definitely an odd man out there for sure.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, dude. When I first came back, I had like thick face tattoos. Like you can't really see it. You can barely see this one.
Oh
but, yeah. I literally had like the eye of Ra and the eye of Horus literally blasted over my eyes. Like eyeball line came out, boom. Like, and when I got home, I would literally like go to pick up food or something, and there would be times where people would scream. I kid you not. I'd be like going to pick them up, and the lady would turn around, hand my food, and be like, ah! You know, like, and she'd go, oh, I'm sorry, you just scared me. And like, it was a whole experience, you know, having face tattoos, bro, especially in my hometown.
You got them lasered off?
Yeah, I've been getting them lasered off. Not because it bothered me, but like a couple of my tattoos just had like dark meaning that I didn't really understand when I got it. Like, this is like, it's kind of like some Illuminati shit, you know, like I had some satanic symbols on me that I didn't know that that's what they were at the time. Yeah, so I'm like, I need to remove these off my body because I felt like it was bringing dark spiritual energy into my life too. Mm-hmm. So I've been in the process of getting them removed. Would I get a face tattoo again? I wouldn't, but if it was anything else other than like something that was dark, I for sure would have rocked it, honestly, because I just like don't care about that stuff, you know? Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was interesting. It was an interesting 2 years of my life.
Yeah, geez.
Super interesting, bro.
Do you have any pictures of the face tattoos?
Yeah, I do actually, I think.
I want to see those.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm trying to see that too.
Actually, there's no service in here, bro. I'll show you when we get out.
Yeah, show me later.
Yeah, I won't.
And where did you get those pants?
These are from a guy called Murder Bravado. He's like my favorite designer ever. My best friend Tariq, that he overdosed and passed away, was like it's a phenomenal designer. Like we went into the Fendi store in San Francisco, and a like 70-year-old guy was in there that literally been working at Fendi for 50 years, seeing every pro athlete, every music artist walk through the door. And we all came in wearing his stuff, and this old guy was like, man, where'd y'all get those clothes? I've never seen a group of people walk in here like you guys. And we're like, my boy Tariq designs it. And he was like, he took Tariq to the side and he was like, you need to keep going, bro. Like, I've been here for 50 years and I've never seen someone with the talent you have, you know? And this guy makes his stuff very similar to the way that Tariq made his. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty expensive. And I like didn't want to pull the trigger on it. But when I found out Bruce had cancer, I was like, for some reason, I need to do some like retail therapy. Yeah. I was gonna find a better way to put it, but I can't, you know. And I ended up getting a pair just to like, you know, it's got like the cathedral windows, you know, like kind of like a godly stained glass, yeah. And kind of reminds me of Tariq, the way that they're designed a little bit, but. I mean, can the camera see them right now?
Oh, those are tough. Sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Those are nice. Yeah, the colors are great.
That's why I wear stuff like that. Like, why I dress the way I dress is, like, not because of a price tag. Like, I would never just buy, like, a pair of Louis Vuitton shoes because, you know, whatever. Like, there's just certain things that remind me of Tariq, you know. And I didn't care about dressing up before I met him. And he was, like, I helped him with a lot of business stuff, so he always just like designed me clothes. You know, I'd wear his clothes all the time, and like when he passed away, I try and like when I wear stuff like this, it like brings me closer to him. You know?
Yeah, it's honorable.
Yeah, that was my boy, dude.
Yeah,
that was my boy.
Where was he from?
He was from San Diego. Yeah, he's from San Diego. Like he was the dopest. He had the deepest struggle of anyone I've ever met in my whole life, and just like. A lot of the dark things that happened to him were not his fault whatsoever. Like, but he had a very, very, very unique special ability to make you feel like you were the dopest person on earth. You know, like I would see him talk to someone that was the most insecure, like just literally would walk into a room like this, you know, and after 5 minutes of talking to Tariq, they would be like, what's up, everybody? You know, like it it was crazy the way that he just made you value yourself, and like he was so cool that when it came from him, like it just like was different for some reason, and he was really, 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 really good at that. So being a designer was like dope for him because he was able to like put clothes on people to make them feel that way about themselves without even knowing him.
Express himself.
Even people that bought his clothes, like that didn't know Tariq at all, loved Tariq, bro. Like loved him. Everyone that met him loved him. Like there was his struggle was so intense and so deep and dark at times that like a lot of people that would see him like that were like, why would you ever want to be around him? Like that boy tried to stab you last night, or he was possessed or whatever, blah, blah. But like the people that truly loved him and knew him, like understood, like you don't come across people like him in this world, that just have like the level of his ability. Like he was just like super saiyan mode with the things he was good at, and to like see the impact that it had on like other people, like we tried to help him, we really tried to help him, but you can't really help anyone that's on drugs.
Right.
You can't like, and I didn't realize that at the time. It was like we were trying to work through the problems off drugs. It's just made everything so much worse,
Right.
Like, but like I know he's good, I know he's good up there. Like my grandpa Bruce for sure is with him. His grandma Merce, like my dog Bruce is up there with him right now. Like, he had a huge hole in his heart because of his dad, and a lot of things that happened with his dad. And I don't know if he was really meant to find peace in this life. I don't know if it was really possible for him, like he did everything that he could and left such a dope impact on the world and on people that like really knew him and loved him and understood him, that is like carried on, and like the person I am and other people and stuff, that like even though he never really found peace in this life, like I really feel like he did what he was supposed to, and now he's going to have an opportunity to work through a lot of the things to mend that hole in his heart without addiction. He doesn't have to, like he doesn't have access to drugs up there, like he did down here. So he's like able to actually work through some things, and I feel like people in general hit that wall in their life at certain points where you just like, you can't keep progressing, you can't, like some things happened and you can't get over it. And like, that's why death doesn't really sadden me too much anymore, because it's just like such a natural part of life, that like if you have things to be grateful for, like that shouldn't sadden you, because it's just a step that all of us are going to have to take, and it's going to be the step that a lot of people that are suffering need to grow past it, to be happy. Because like really eternal things are the only things that matter, like we get so caught up in what are we going to do with our life, what are we going to do with this life, who are we going to be, where are we going to live, how many kids, whatever. But like really, like if it's not like eternal, if you can't take it with you to your grave, like which are everything external is going to stay here, like it just doesn't matter. Life really is like about like the internal journey, and being the best version of yourself that you can be. And sometimes a body keeps you from growing, for real. Like you learn that as a drug addict, you learn that even as some people get so addicted to the gym that like it's like you think of like your life as a pond, and like things flow through it like a stream. And when things are flowing through it, it keeps your pond clean, but as soon as you get attached to something, it's like you're clogging up the stream, and then your pond just gets muddy. The fish in it, when they kick dirt around, it doesn't have anywhere to filter out to, it just stays, and you lose clarity. Like, so there's a lot of things that people even think are super positive because it's giving you something that you deem as good. But like when you get too attached to anything in life, it really, like it takes away your clarity, it takes away the focus on like the things that are like really important, like, which is why it's good to like have things that you can do, but like balance is super important, to people. So you can just like allow things to pass through you, like even when I feel sad or angry at times, like I just like, I don't try and solve anything in those moments. I don't try and run to anything or like I just literally lay there still and I just let it pass through me. If like bad thoughts or something come, like I don't try and solve it or figure it out or think why it's coming. I just let it go through. And then once it's gone and I'm feeling a little better, like then I'll just think about it, then I'll process it. Like, cause when you hold on to anything, bro, it just like, have you seen the movie Soul? No, Soul is a dope movie.
With the Disney movie?
Yeah, the Disney movie.
I never watched
Disney,
it.
But
Yeah.
Disney is the Illuminati. But
yeah, I would love to hear more of your thoughts on that.
Dude, it is, bro. There's just certain things that I feel like get deemed up as conspiracy. And so it just like, but it is just like the truth, bro. Like the whole thing with like Balenciaga that everyone's shocked about, like the stuff the pictures of the kids and, like that is literally like when you're in Hollywood, bro, like they throw parties where all the food looks like people's body parts because in like the Church of Satan, like the cannibalistic is a thing, like it's literally promoted to kill and murder. It's promoted to, traffic kids and have sexual relationships with kids. It's promoted to desensitize your being to allow other evil entities that don't have a body like we do to enter in, and to have peace or home. Like, it's like, watch all the pornography in the world, like, but there's like real things, like when you do stuff like that, like when you watch pornography, like your crown chakra is activated. And I believe that like other people can come back and experience things through you. You know what I'm saying? Like when that dopamine is released, that weakens a point in your like spiritual armor. And like, that's what like Hinduism, some other things teach, and like people are able to come and experience things with you. And like when I've seen my friends like get possessed, like on, like they had desensitized themselves to a point where like things could literally come in, not just experience it, but be in control, and like that's what like Disney, a lot of these huge corporations and companies, like you hear black people all the time say like the white man is the devil. And I don't literally think they're saying like white people are the devil, but like a lot of white people that control these huge companies and organizations are like the Illuminati. Like it's what the Church of Satan is like. Those are the people that are being used to do his work, and like, it doesn't make all people bad or whatever, but there really are people at the top, bro, that are doing wicked, terrible things, like Epstein gets arrested and then murdered before he takes trial. Like, and so people just like forget about things. It was suicide.
I'm just kidding.
Was it? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Bro.
Yeah.
Even, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
the camera stops rolling for 30 minutes or whatever. It's really coincidental.
Kanye is crazy. And he's so stupid, bro. And some of the stuff he's saying is not cool. But like he literally has said the reason why I can say whatever I want to say is because I haven't raped a kid and I haven't killed anyone. So they don't have anything on me. Like Justin Bieber has worn Balenciaga in every single show he's ever done, and he doesn't come out and make any type of statement because they probably have made him do something like that before. Like, people can't speak up on certain things. Like there's so much wicked stuff that goes on in Hollywood, which is traced back to literally when Hollywood was created. The CIA came in and was like, you guys can't just do whatever you want with TV, because the things like they ran experiments to show like when you're watching television and you're watching your programs, and it's channeling information to you, like it has an effect and it rewires your brain and you can control people. You can control people with TV. You can control people with media, and they learned that shit way back before like Disney got huge, to what it is today. Like they came in and they put their hand in it, and like that's what the Illuminati is. It's these people that control everything. They control every major media news outlet in the world is controlled by 6 people. 6 people in the world control what we get fed, like 99% of it. Like, but you can't see this stuff because you're like, we're all caught up in a matrix. Like we don't even really own our kids have, like let's make life so hard on a mom and a dad, to where they both have to work, or let's, go to inner city, minority groups. Let's take the dad out of the equation. Let's just leave a mom to do it all. Mm-hmm. Your kids spend all their time in school, who's giving them the information in school? The government, you know, like they literally control everything, dude, you know. And you look around in the world, people aren't happy, you know, people don't have clarity. You can Google if coffee is bad for you and it's going to say it's horrible for you. You can Google, is coffee good for me? And they'll say it's great for you. Right. You know, like no one knows anything nowadays. You can go to the internet and find and validate anything that you want, you know, and like they're literally feeding this all into us from the time we're little kids. Like every Disney movie starts with tragedy, like Bambi's mom dies, you know, like, let's get people used to tragedy, you know, so when it hits them in their life, it's not like pose a question, it's just normal, you know. Let's get everyone playing shooter video games and just watching people die and desensitize them to violence, you know, and to death. Let's let's create a culture now where we don't even have to do it all. Everyone else is just going to do it for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, and really the state of the world is kind of in a scary place right now, you know, because people aren't aware that like this stuff is going on, you know. And I'm not like saying that from a, like, we need to tear it down. Like, well, like, I just feel like people need to be aware of what's going on, you know, because it's like, I don't watch the news. I don't spend a lot of time on my phone. You know, I try and be present. Like, I don't want to be fed information. Like, I don't watch pornography. I used to. Like, I don't do those things anymore. And it's crazy the type of energy that I feel and like how easy it is to fill up my light, you know, to see certain things and be like, that's not okay, but also not so low on energy that I'm like, that's not okay. What the heck is wrong with you? You know, it's like, bro, you know, like, let's talk. Like, you know, you have the energy to actually make things better, but people are so sucked into these vacuums of, I'm going to make a trade today, I'm going to make my money, you know, or even like, I'm just going to, like, my whole goal in life is to get huge, or like, you know, I'm just on the news all day. The world is in such a, like, people don't have the energy to do what's right, you know, because the higher road, like, to really leave something good in your life is hard, because pain is a sign of progress. Like, if you're not feeling any pain from your journey, like, you're not progressing, you know. And like, people cannot deal with pain because you're so low on energy all the time that the littlest thing, your pencil drops, and it's like, my life is, you know, let alone someone comes at you like, you can't park there, but, you know, like, if you're running low on energy, you're going to snap back on that person, whatever. Or even someone is like, I believe in Donald Trump, you know, everyone is going to be like, whoa, what is wrong with you? You know, as opposed to like, why do you believe in Donald Trump, you know? And you hear like, okay, I hear you, but he's like also kind of a jerk, you know? Like, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, and then you start getting somewhere, you know, or you have a conservative that's like, I hate Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and the environment doesn't matter at all. And like, they're going to just snap back, as opposed to like, you know, like, well, don't you like fresh water? You know, like, don't you like agree like that the world is like a beautiful place, like God's creation, like we should be trying to protect it, like all life is important, you know? And like, there's so much good things that are just being like taken to the extreme that are turning it into like just negativity, bro, you know. And the world is in a dire state because of it right now. Like, people can't even trust their own friends anymore, because you don't know what type of time someone is on, or like when their breaking point is going to be. Like, I really only fully trust people that I know are strong people, you know. Like, if you're not a strong individual and can take care of yourself, like, I will be there for you and I will love you, but I can never fully trust you, you know. I'll trust you to be who you are, but like, even as someone that's like sees things and feels like I do a lot to keep like my own energy high and stuff, like, I have a hard time trusting people, just because anyone could change at any given time, you know. Like, you put $1 million in front of someone, like, they might do some stuff to, you know, to hurt you and not even think twice about it, just be gone with the wind, you know. And like, that's just the world that we live in. And I used to be really mad at people for that. I would get so mad at people, like, for why would you be like this? Why would you not, you know, etc. But now I'm like, geez, bro, like, it's not even everyone's fault, bro. No one's just being themselves, you know. Like, when you look at kids, bro, like, kids are so beautiful in themselves, and just like, they don't overanalyze things. It's like, what's your name? I don't know. Gone. You know. But like, you lose that when you get older. You know, you lose that, and you start looking through a lens of like, man, is this person gonna hurt me? You know, and everyone is on that time, bro. And so it's like really hard to connect people on a level where you're like, even if this person hurts me, it's okay. It's part of the human experience. You know,
you've seen the darkness.
I've seen the darkness.
Yeah, a lot of wise words right there. Thank you for sharing all that.
Thanks for bringing me in, dude. I don't talk a whole lot. I really like it's crazy when I'm in a closed setting like this. I like to talk. You know, I feel like it's also therapy for me a little bit. Like the world is kind of my therapist. But you know, when I'm out in public, bro, it's weird. I don't really talk. You know, when I'm home in Idaho, I spend large majority of my time alone. You know, you'd see me in the basketball court and think that I was just off the walls everywhere I go. You know, but I listen way more than I speak, so I appreciate you guys for bringing me in here and letting me be vocal and talk about some of the things that I care about. You know, it means a lot for real.
It's been great having you. This is a gift from our sponsor, Northwest Pizza.
Okay, Northwest Pizza.
It's a little gift card. Get some food before you leave.
That's love. I'm about to bring the guys out.
Yeah. Once again, thank you, and look forward to more great times in the future.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry for rambling.
Running Raiders are out.
Sorry for rambling.